In the crisp mountain air of Mongolia, our research facility hummed with quiet tension. Jia Kim stood before a wall of flickering monitors, his fingers tracing complex signal patterns that seemed to dance between chaos and meaning. The room around him was filled with advanced equipment, screens casting blue-white light across serious faces of scientists from around the world. Something was different about this transmission. Unlike previous random space signals, this one carried a precise, calculated rhythm that suggested intelligent design. Jay's eyes narrowed, catching subtle mathematical sequences that didn't match any known communication protocol. "Look at this," he muttered to Dr. Rodriguez, his senior colleague. The signal wasn't just noise, it was a message, a warning. As the team decoded fragments, a chilling picture emerged. An alien civilization called the Coralline was scanning Earth, assessing humanity's technological capabilities. Their transmission suggested a comprehensive reconnaissance mission that would precede a potential invasion. The signal contained intricate mathematical proofs that demonstrated the Coralline's technological superiority. Star charts, complex quantum calculations, and biomechanical schematics painted a picture of a civilization thousands of years more advanced than human technology. Most scientists in the room looked terrified, but Jay saw something else, a challenge. While others discussed panic and potential surrender, Jay began mapping the signal's intricate patterns. He noticed subtle inconsistencies, tiny imperfections that suggested the Coralline weren't infallible. Their communication, though advanced, carried hints of predictability. "They're scanning us," Jay explained to the team, "but they don't fully understand human complexity." Global military and scientific institutions received the decoded transmission within hours. Panic began spreading across continents. Governments held emergency meetings. Military strategists discussed potential defense scenarios, most of which seemed futile against the technologically superior alien force. Jai knew traditional defense strategies would fail. The Coralline's computational models seemed to suggest humanity would collapse quickly. But Jay understood something fundamental about human nature: unpredictability. In the following weeks, he assembled a diverse team of scientists, engineers, and strategic thinkers. They weren't just preparing a defense. They were designing a response that would challenge the Coralline's understanding of intelligence. The team included experts from different backgrounds: a quantum physicist from Brazil, a communication specialist from Japan, a cybersecurity expert from Nigeria. Each brought unique perspectives that didn't fit into standard computational models. Jay's strategy wasn't about matching alien technology. It was about creating systematic unpredictability, something the Coralline's rigid computational thinking couldn't easily comprehend. They began developing communication protocols that would deliberately introduce controlled randomness. Mathematical models that seemed illogical yet contained deep underlying patterns. Technologies that would appear primitive but contained hidden complexities. The research facility became a hub of constant activity. Computers ran complex simulations. Teams worked in shifts, exploring every potential communication and defense scenario. As days turned into weeks, the team's excitement grew. They weren't just preparing for potential destruction. They were crafting a response that challenged the very concept of technological superiority. The Global Research Center buzzed with intense energy as Elena Park entered the main laboratory. Her quantum physics background and unconventional thinking made her the perfect complement to Jia Kim's strategic approach. Outside the windows, the world seemed unaware of the impending alien threat, but inside this room, humanity's survival strategy was taking shape. Elena studied the Coralline transmission data, her fingers quickly moving across holographic displays. She noticed something most scientists missed: patterns of vulnerability within the alien communication. Their technological superiority wasn't absolute. It had predictable blind spots. "We can't fight them with traditional weapons," Elena explained to Jia. "We need to understand their computational thinking and create disruptions they cannot predict." Their team began developing unique quantum-entangled communication devices. These weren't just communication tools. They were designed to introduce controlled chaos into alien computational systems. The goal was to make human response completely unpredictable. Military strategists initially dismissed their approach. Traditional defense models suggested surrender or complete destruction. But Jay and Elena knew humanity's greatest strength wasn't raw technological power, but adaptability and creative problem-solving. They recruited specialists from diverse backgrounds. A young Brazilian programmer who could write code that seemed nonsensical yet contained deep logical structures. A Japanese communication expert who understood nonlinear communication patterns. An African cybersecurity specialist who could create technological illusions. Their laboratory became a strange mix of scientific precision and creative chaos. Computers ran complex simulations while team members discussed strategies that seemed more like artistic performances than military planning. Elena developed a series of quantum communication protocols that could simultaneously transmit multiple contradictory signals. To human understanding, these signals would seem random, but they were carefully constructed to introduce maximum uncertainty into the Corellian's computational models. Joe focused on psychological warfare strategies. How could humans respond in ways that completely defied alien expectations? They studied historical human behaviors, moments of unexpected resilience, creative problem-solving, and collective adaptation. Their approach wasn't about matching alien technology. It was about creating a response so fundamentally different that it would break the Corellian's predictive algorithms. International governments remained skeptical. Most military leaders wanted traditional defense strategies. Massive weapon systems, nuclear deterrence, massive coordinated attacks. But Jay and Elena knew these would fail immediately against a technologically superior civilization. Imagine a chess game, Jay explained during a critical briefing. But instead of playing chess, we suddenly start playing music. How will the opponent respond? Their team developed prototype technologies that looked primitive but contained hidden complexities. Communication devices that could change transmission patterns instantaneously. Computational systems that could introduce deliberate errors that weren't actually errors. Elena's quantum communication devices were particularly ingenious. They could send signals that existed in multiple states simultaneously, something completely outside the Corellian's computational understanding. As weeks passed, their small team transformed from a group of researchers into something more. Humanity's most creative defensive unit. They weren't just preparing for potential destruction. They were designing a response that challenged the very concept of technological conflict. The Corellian expected a straightforward, predictable human response, but they would receive something entirely unexpected, a demonstration of human creativity that defied all computational prediction. In the research center, surrounded by complex equipment and dedicated minds, a unique defense was taking shape, not through massive weapons or advanced technology, but through something far more powerful, human imagination and adaptability. Outside, the world continued its normal routine. Most people remained unaware of the potential alien threat, but inside this laboratory, humanity's most innovative minds were preparing a response that would challenge everything the Corellian understood about intelligence and conflict. Elena looked at Ja, a shared understanding passing between them. The real battle would not be fought with traditional weapons, but with creativity, unpredictability, and the remarkable human capacity to transform challenges into opportunities. The Corellian were coming, but they had no idea what humanity was preparing. The first Corellian ships appeared like massive dark shadows against Earth's orbital platforms. Metallic structures larger than entire cities, they moved with a precision that suggested absolute computational control. Ja Kim watched from the Global Defense Command Center, his team ready to execute their unconventional strategy. Alien communication signals began scanning Earth's defense systems. Their computational models predicted a complete human surrender within minutes. The Corellian commanders believed they were conducting a simple planetary acquisition, not anticipating the surprise waiting for them. Elena Park activated the first wave of quantum communication disruption. Strange signals began broadcasting across multiple frequencies, mathematical sequences that seemed random but contained deep, hidden logical structures. The alien ship's computational systems started experiencing unexpected interference. One by one, the Coralline scanning mechanisms began producing conflicting data. Their advanced technology, designed for perfect predictability, suddenly encountered something it couldn't process: human unpredictability. Jay's team had prepared specific transmission protocols that looked like technological errors, but were carefully designed disruption sequences. Some signals appeared to show human military weakness, while simultaneously hiding complex defensive strategies. The alien ships began experiencing strange computational glitches. Navigation systems received contradictory information. Scanning mechanisms picked up multiple potential human response scenarios simultaneously, creating a state of strategic confusion. Military leaders watching the Defense Command Center were initially skeptical. Traditional defense strategies suggested immediate surrender. But Jay's team had designed something entirely different, a response that challenged the very concept of technological conflict. Orbital defense platforms, which seemed technologically primitive compared to Coralline ships, suddenly demonstrated unexpected capabilities. Small, seemingly insignificant communication devices began broadcasting signals that created massive computational disruptions in alien systems. Alina's quantum communication devices performed beyond expectations. They could simultaneously transmit multiple signal states, creating a level of uncertainty that the Coralline's computational models couldn't process. What looked like simple technological noise was actually a sophisticated defensive strategy. The alien commanders realized something was wrong. Their perfect invasion model was experiencing unexpected complications. Human responses didn't match any predicted scenario in their computational databases. Smaller human satellites, which appeared insignificant, began executing complex maneuvers. They moved in patterns that seemed random but contained precise strategic calculations. The Coralline ships found themselves unable to predict or counter these movements. Communication between alien ships became increasingly complicated. Their unified computational network started experiencing internal conflicts, with different ship systems receiving contradictory information about human capabilities and potential responses. Jay watched the global defense screens, understanding that this was more than a military confrontation. It was a battle of intelligence, creativity, and the ability to introduce unexpected variables into a seemingly predictable system. The first human counterattack wasn't about destroying alien ships. It was about creating such a level of computational uncertainty that the Coralline's invasion strategy began collapsing from within. Alien commanders realized they had drastically underestimated human potential. Their computational models, which had predicted a quick and simple planetary acquisition, were falling apart in real time. Smaller human communication teams continued broadcasting signals that looked like technological errors, but contained precise strategic information. Each transmission was designed to introduce maximum uncertainty into the alien computational network. As hours passed, the Coralline ships began experiencing more frequent system disruptions. Navigation became increasingly complicated. Scanning mechanisms produced conflicting data. Their unified invasion strategy was slowly unraveling. Jay and Alina exchanged a quick glance. Their unconventional strategy was working. Humanity wasn't matching alien technology. They were demonstrating something far more powerful: the ability to introduce unexpected variables, to be creative, to transform challenges into opportunities. The first strike wasn't about destruction. It was about challenging the very concept of technological superiority. And in this moment, humanity was winning. The Coralline had arrived expecting a simple planetary acquisition. Instead, they encountered something they could never have predicted: the remarkable, unpredictable intelligence of the human species. The Coralline invasion began experiencing critical failures across multiple planetary zones. Sung Ho, the international tactical coordinator, worked from a hidden underground command center in South Korea, coordinating global resistance strategies that defied traditional military thinking. Earth's defense was no longer about massive weapon systems or direct confrontation. Instead, humans used their most powerful weapon: creativity and adaptive intelligence. Small teams around the world began implementing localized resistance strategies that seemed chaotic but contained precise mathematical logic. In rural areas, farmers modified agricultural communication systems to broadcast complex signal disruptions. Industrial networks transformed ordinary communication channels into sophisticated interference platforms. Every technological system became a potential weapon against the alien computational network. Sung Ho's team discovered something remarkable about the Coralline invasion strategy. Their advanced technology relied on predictive computational models that assumed linear problem-solving. Humans, by contrast, could think and respond in completely unexpected ways. Communication networks across continents started transmitting deliberately confusing signals. What looked like technological noise was actually a carefully designed defense mechanism. Each transmission contained multiple layers of information that the alien systems couldn't easily decode. Cities transformed into living defense mechanisms. Transportation systems became unpredictable. Communication networks produced signals that constantly changed transmission patterns. The Coralline found themselves unable to establish stable scanning patterns across human territories. Underground research teams continued developing innovative defense technologies. They weren't trying to match alien technological capabilities, but to introduce maximum uncertainty into alien computational systems. Satellite networks began executing complex maneuvers that seemed random but contained precise strategic calculations. Small communication devices introduced deliberate computational errors that created massive disruptions in alien tracking systems. The global human response wasn't centralized, and that was its greatest strength. Instead of a single command structure, resistance emerged from multiple independent sources. Each local team developed unique strategies that collectively created a massive defensive network. Technological blind spots in the Coralline invasion became increasingly apparent. Their computational models couldn't process the continuous adaptations humans were introducing. What seemed like technological weakness was actually a sophisticated defense mechanism. Sung Ho understood that humanity's survival depended on continuous innovation. Traditional military thinking would have failed immediately. But by introducing constant uncertainty, humans were slowly dismantling the alien invasion strategy. Research teams discovered that the Coralline computational systems had fundamental limitations. They expected linear responses and precise computational models. Human creativity introduced variables that these systems couldn't easily process. Communication became a weapon. Every transmission, every technological interaction was designed to create maximum computational confusion. Small teams around the world transformed ordinary technologies into sophisticated defensive tools. The invasion was no longer about physical confrontation. It had become a complex computational battle where human creativity was the most powerful weapon. The Coralline found themselves facing an enemy that didn't play by any expected rules. Technological systems across different human sectors began working in unexpected collaborative patterns. Industrial networks, communication platforms, transportation systems all started functioning as interconnected defensive mechanisms. Sung Ho's team continued monitoring global resistance strategies. They weren't just defending. They were actively dismantling the alien invasion computational network. Each transmission, each technological interaction was designed to introduce maximum uncertainty. The Coralline commanders realized they had drastically underestimated human potential. Their invasion strategy, which had seemed perfect in computational models, was falling apart in real time. Humanity demonstrated something profound. Technological superiority wasn't about advanced systems, but about the ability to adapt, to be creative, to introduce unexpected variables into any computational model. As weeks passed, the alien invasion began experiencing critical failures across multiple planetary zones. What had seemed like an inevitable conquest was transforming into a complex computational battle where humans were slowly gaining the upper hand. The planetary defense wasn't about matching alien technology. It was about demonstrating the remarkable, unpredictable intelligence of the human species. The Coralline had arrived expecting a simple planetary acquisition. Instead, they encountered a defense mechanism more complex and adaptive than any of their computational models could have predicted. Near Jupiter's orbital region, the final confrontation between humanity and the Coralline reached its critical moment. Judd Kim stood on the International Space Station, watching the complex dance of technological systems that had transformed from a potential invasion into an unexpected dialogue. The Coralline ships, once seemingly invincible, now displayed signs of computational exhaustion. Their invasion strategy had been completely dismantled by humanity's remarkable ability to introduce continuous uncertainty and adaptive intelligence. The Luna Park's quantum communication systems had proven to be the ultimate breakthrough. What began as a defensive strategy had transformed into a complex communication platform that the alien civilization could not ignore. Communication signals between human teams and Coralline computational networks became increasingly sophisticated. No longer were these interactions about conflict. They were becoming a form of interstellar negotiation that transcended traditional understanding of technological communication. Sung Ho monitored global response systems, recognizing that humanity had achieved something unprecedented. They hadn't just defended themselves. They had demonstrated a form of intelligence that challenged the Coralline's entire computational philosophy. The alien civilization began sending different transmission signals. These were no longer invasion protocols, but something more complex, signals of curiosity, of recognition, of potential respect. Jay understood that humanity's survival hadn't come through superior weapon systems, but through its fundamental ability to be unpredictable, creative, and adaptable. The human species had shown that technological superiority wasn't about advanced systems, but about the capacity to transform challenges into opportunities. Research teams around the world analyzed the changing alien communications. The Coralline were no longer viewing humans as a potential conquest, but as a unique intelligent species that defied all their previous computational models. Near Jupiter's orbital platforms, something remarkable happened. The alien ships, instead of continuing their invasion, began transmitting complex mathematical sequences that suggested a desire for communication, for understanding. Alina's quantum communication systems decoded these signals. They weren't signals of surrender, but signals of potential cooperation. The Coralline had encountered something in human behavior that fundamentally challenged their understanding of intelligent life. Global leadership teams received unprecedented communication requests from the alien civilization. The Coralline wanted to understand how a seemingly technologically inferior species could introduce such complex computational disruptions. Humanity had not just survived, they had transformed the entire nature of the potential conflict. What began as an expected planetary invasion had become an opportunity for interstellar communication and potential cooperation. The space station became a complex communication hub. Scientists, military strategists, and communication experts worked together to manage this unexpected diplomatic opportunity. Each transmission was carefully designed to continue demonstrating human creativity and adaptability. Jay recognized that this moment was more than a military victory. It was a profound demonstration of human potential, the ability to transform conflict into communication, uncertainty into opportunity. The Coralline transmission signals suggested they were requesting comprehensive information about human computational and communication strategies. They wanted to understand the species that had so completely disrupted their invasion models. Sung Ho's tactical teams prepared comprehensive communication packages. These weren't just defensive strategies, but demonstrations of human creativity, cultural complexity, and adaptive intelligence. Near Jupiter's orbital platforms, a new chapter of interstellar communication was beginning. Humanity had shown that technological superiority wasn't about advanced weapon systems, but about the capacity to be unpredictable, creative, and fundamentally adaptable. The alien civilization that had arrived expecting a simple planetary conquest now found itself engaged in a complex communication process with a species that defied all their previous computational understanding. Ja, Elena, and Sung Ho watched the communication platforms, understanding that this moment represented more than a defensive victory. It was a profound evolution in humanity's understanding of its place in the universe. The Coralline had come to conquer. Instead, they had discovered a species that would change their entire understanding of intelligent life. Humanity's greatest weapon wasn't technology. It was the remarkable, unpredictable capacity to transform every challenge into an opportunity for growth, communication, and understanding. Jay knew the Coralline expected a straightforward, predictable human response. But what they would receive was something entirely different, a demonstration of human creativity, adaptability, and unexpected intelligence. The transmission from space continued, revealing more about the approaching alien civilization. But now, instead of pure fear, there was a sense of anticipation. Humanity wasn't going to be a passive recipient of its potential fate. In the cold Mongolian research facility, surrounded by humming computers and dedicated scientists, a unique defense was taking shape, not through massive weapons or advanced technology, but through something far more powerful: human imagination. The Coralline were coming, but they had no idea what they were about to encounter. As the first transmission completed its analysis, Jae Kim allowed himself a small, determined smile. The real conversation was just beginning.